Alright guys, today I thought I would do an Asperger's syndrome test because I've had some sessions of therapy in the past and the therapist said that she suspects that I have Asperger's syndrome. So I thought I'd do one of these online tests just for fun and see what it says. So let's go down here where it says what Asperger's syndrome is. I'll just quickly read that out for you. So, Asperger's syndrome, known widely as Asperger's, is an older diagnosis for a developmental disorder that now falls under the much broader umbrella of autism spectrum syndrome. People who have Asperger's may have difficulty socialising, have fewer things that interest them, desire uniformity and structure, or possess distinctive, unique skills or strengths. Many people who have these characteristics wonder if they might have Asperger's syndrome or another autism spectrum disorder. So this quiz serves to show you how likely it is that you might have Asperger's. And it says, remember, this isn't a proper diagnosis, but we know that. It's just for a bit of fun and kind of want to see what it says, to be honest. So let's start. Question 1. Do you have issues with eye contact, like not being able to look people in the eyes and staring too much? So, I don't really have problems with that at all. The only times I've sort of experienced that in the past would be, I remember I was recording an interview I think it was for a university video, and I was looking at my interviewee in the eyes and everything sort of went blurry around it and I felt really lightheaded, and that happened a couple of times, but I'm actually pretty good with eye contact, to be honest. I'm pretty good at keeping eye contact, and sometimes I think I'm so good at keeping eye contact I'll quickly look off and look back so it doesn't look so intense, and maybe that's just me overthinking it, but I do actually do that quite a lot because I'm very good at just maintaining eye contact. So do you have issues with eye contact? So that would be almost never. Yeah. Okay, almost never. I just wonder what this is just about the quiz writer. There's a little did you know. Okay. Oh, continue. Right. Do you typically feel awkward when interacting with other people? Now this is, and often for me, if I know the person, then I'm completely fine. But if it's a new encounter, with someone I've never met before, then almost definitely. So I would say regularly. This did you know, everyday people aren't the only one who have difficulty figuring out if they have Asperger's. Okay, so this is just more information. Right. Is it easier to make friends with people much younger than you are? Oh, that's a tough one, because I actually find it easier to make friends with people who are older than me. Sometimes say if I'm hanging out with my nephews or where I work at the college, not everyone, but all the students are younger than me. I'd say, yeah, if at a family gathering, I'm more likely to hang out with the nephews because they'll be up for playing a game or something, and I'll be up for doing something silly with them. So in those situations, yes, but oftentimes I actually find myself gravitating towards older people because I find it easier to talk to them and feel comfortable around them. I find people sort of my own age, or the age I sort of perceive myself as, sort of like, well, I'm 31, but say if I was hanging around a bunch of, say, 25 to 30-year-olds, I might end up actually talking to the older person more because they're oftentimes more calm and I feel more comfortable around them. So I'd say somewhat agree that it's easier to make friends with people who are younger than me, just because, actually, I'm going to say somewhat disagree, Somewhat disagree. Do you rely on another person in social situations? I think this is a big yes, because a lot of the times I've said this to myself before, I thrive in a situation where there's 3 of us. I can be quite charismatic, I feel like, in a situation where there's 3 of us. I can bounce off the 2 people's energies. And say I've gone into a situation where it's me and someone else, unless I like know that person quite well, I'm very like reserved, or I'm very quiet, or it really depends on the person. But I find more often than not, if it's a one-on-one, I'm actually very reserved and quiet. And then, I mean, it's the same. I get that quite a lot, like with everyone, really. Yeah, if there's three of us, then I just become much more loud and like able to joke around and stuff. I'm not sure why, but I would say, what's the nearest to often? Regularly. Do I rely on another person in social situations? Regularly. Right. Is it easier for you to talk for a long time about something that interests you? I feel like that'd be true for most people. Yeah, if I feel like I've got nothing to add to the conversation, then I might just, I won't be able to really say much, really. I might ask a question, but, I mean, let's say like where I work at the college, and I work with students who actually have a formal diagnosis of autism, and they say people who have a diagnosis of autism often have like a special interest, and I'll try and engage with that student about their special interest. So one student might be talking to me about World War II planes, a topic I don't know much about at all, but I will try and ask some questions, find out more, just because I know it's sort of helping them talk to me. But I do find it really hard to keep the conversation going, because I sort of run out of things to say. Like, I'd have to actually research it and go into conversation. So, I mean, yeah, I can go on and on about like fitness and like supplements and, you know, all the stuff around health. I would say actually, yes, it definitely. I actually strongly agree. I strongly agree with that. Yeah, because just going back to that previous one, if someone was talking to me about like pop music, I sort of shut down, and like I'll maybe just like hear what they're saying and then change the topic or something. So yeah, I do find it hard to not talk about something I'm not interested in. Do people sometimes describe you as impolite, even if you think you're being polite? I mean, no one's ever described me as that. And if they have, it hasn't been to my face. So I'm just going to say almost never, but you never know what people say behind your back. Do you sometimes get so absorbed in something you lose sight of everything else? Actually, yes. Yes, I think actually all the time. Actually, yes, this is so true for me. I sort of work in like, I'll get like, say in 2 week phases, like for 2 weeks I'll be like, my life is World of Warcraft and everything I want to do, like I want to get every character up to max level, this is it. And then suddenly it's gone and I'll be like, can't keep doing this. And then like right now I'm in a phase where like, YouTube videos, I'm making YouTube videos, this is what I'm doing. Suddenly it's gone. Or like it, I mean, yeah, I get very hyper focused on things. But then at the same time, I find it hard to get focused on things. But I would say, actually, I agree with this. I'll say regularly. Can you easily imagine what book characters look like? Now, the problem is, I honestly, I don't read much. But expanding on this, if someone's explaining something to me, I mean, sometimes I do find it hard to visualise. I need like a visual aid. It's like those sort of games where they're like, maybe it's like an anagram or you have to think outside the box, and I'll get very, very stuck on my very first thought, and I'll find it almost impossible to deviate from that first thought. And then I'll see the answer, I'll be like, oh, god damn it, like I couldn't think of that. It's like my brain gets locked in on that one thought. So, I would agree. Somewhat agree or strongly agree? I think I strongly agree. I'm more, yeah. Do you tend to notice details that others do not? I mean, in terms of like, if I'm editing a video, just because that's what I did for a job for a long time. I mean, not so much with these videos, so I don't really edit them. I just chop them. But if I'm actually editing a video, there will be loads of things that I notice that other people don't. I mean, tend to notice details that others do not. I will say that I get that a lot with smells or something. Like, this is something that's a bit strange. Like, I used to know, back when I lived with my dad, I used to know who was round based off of, like, I go to use the bathroom, and if they'd used it before for a number two, I would know who's there by the smell left in the bathroom. And I think that's a detail only I would notice. Like, it's like their signature smell. It wouldn't be a nice smell, but I'd be like, oh, my dad's friend's round, because I can smell it. Like, it smells like solder and stuff in here. Like, he does, I don't know, he like does that sort of thing at home, but distinctive smells. And I notice smells all the time. Or like, I'll walk in to the front room and I'll be like, it smells like, what is that smell? Oh my God. And then I look to the left and there's like a new vase of flowers. And for me, it was just like an assault. Like, oh my God, I can smell something so strong. Like, what is that? So I would say, actually, I would strongly agree. But at the same time, I get sort of blindsided by the things that I'm sensing that I don't notice other things. But I will strongly agree, because I notice smells, in particular smells strongly, yes. Are you fascinated by strings of numbers such as license plates or dates? No, but license plates, I do get sort of absorbed in looking at the last three letters and making up a word from it. That happens to me all the time. So I guess yes, but in all other ways, no, I'm not. So I would actually just, I'll just somewhat agree. Do you know a lot about a very specific or narrow topic, such as weather data or star names? Very specific or narrow topic. I mean, I get what it's trying to ask me. It's trying to ask me if I have a special interest. And I do. And that is physical health. You know, I don't know as much as someone who's got like a degree in it, but I feel like I know enough to the point where I try and help people, and I find on a daily basis, like, people don't know simple things that I think is simple, like such as hydration. Like, you know, it's not just water, it's your electrolytes as well. And I try and teach people that because it feels like they need to know. And then like vitamins, you know, I'm quite into my blood test results and analysing them. I guess yes. I guess yes, actually, because it's not like I know a lot about other things. I might just do an agree. Maybe I should strongly agree. I guess I'll strongly agree. Are there motions that you feel compelled to perform, such as hand flapping, twisting, or fidgeting? Okay, so yes, but not to the extent I've seen, you know, some of the students at the college. You know, I don't feel the need to sit there and like rock. I see quite a lot of people doing that, but I do feel the need to, like, my fiance's got these little hair grabbers, and I do feel the need to fiddle with them. And for a really long time, I used to fiddle with anything that was sort of flat, like a USB stick, and pretend to do skateboard tricks, like tray flips. I'd like use my fingers to do like a nice kick flip and like hold it. So I guess yes. So, I mean, yeah, I do feel that. Yeah, I'm going to actually just strongly agree with that. Like, every time I get in the car, I pick up a hair grabber and like put it on my finger and fiddle with it. But I'm just going to strongly agree. I mean, we all have our own ways of doing it. Yeah, like I see students rocking back and forth, and like in that picture, she had like thingy pop. I see that a lot. And I do like doing that sort of thing, like I said, with hair grabbers, and I like the pressure of it. So yeah, definitely, actually. Do you find it difficult to determine characters' intentions in movies or books? I do. I do, actually. Well, sometimes I've just watched a few films recently. I watched the Talented Mr. Ripley. Now, was I able to just determine his intentions? I'm trying to think. I mean, it made me feel very uncomfortable the way he, basically in the film. I won't spoil it in case you haven't watched it, but it's right at the start. You find, he's like lying in a way. He lies a lot, and makes me feel very uncomfortable. Did I find it hard to determine his intentions? I would say yes. But then I sort of know why he's doing it, why characters are doing things. So I'll just agree, but not strongly agree. Do people compare you to stoic, logical characters such as Spock? I wouldn't say so. I just don't feel like I'm intelligent enough to be compared to Spock. No. I'm a bit too all over the place to be compared to Spock. But you never know what people say behind your back, like I said. I'll just say almost never. I don't think anyone's compared me to that sort of person. No, I'll just say almost never. Do you have poor handwriting? I would say so. In school they taught us to join up our handwriting, I guess, for efficiency. And then I just decided it looked so crap, I decided I'm never going to join my letters up again. I think it's more legible if I write them all individually, and that's how I do it. I do think it's poor, but it's not as poor as some other people. So I would actually somewhat agree. I've seen more handwriting that is worse, and it's usually when it's joined up. But I think that's because I find that hard to actually read. Do you talk quickly, loudly, or in a unique pattern? That depends. I mean, like right now, this is fast talking for me. It's because I just had this coffee. Now it's empty. Loudly, I'm talking louder than usual because I've just had a coffee. Or in a unique pattern. I would say for the most part, when I'm in the workplace, I actually talk in a more methodical, slower pattern because I'm trying to come across as a calming presence to the person I'm talking to. And I would say it mostly depends on how sort of hyped up I am. But for the most part, I talk quite quietly. So I'm just going to put sometimes. Have you ever felt uncomfortable in your skin? I mean, yes. Quite often I get this feeling, it's very hard to describe, where it's almost like my consciousness has moved above my head, and I feel like, I would describe it as head fog. It's almost like, say, I feel like I'm here, present here, and it's like it's moved up here and I can't quite grasp what's going on. It makes me feel like uncomfortable. And then I have had times where it just feels like there's some sort of impending doom. That happens quite regularly, impending doom feeling. And I have had times where this was more like if I had smoked some weed or something, I would feel like the hair on my head feels like it's like annoying me in a way, like where it's touching me. It would make me want to keep itching because it just feels weird. Like I can feel my hair on my head, which is weird to think about. It super enhanced my perception of things touching my skin. So, I would actually say regularly. Yeah. Would you describe yourself as clumsy? Not really. I disagree with that. Sometimes I can be, but very rarely. I would actually say, for the most part, I'm quite controlled. I mean, I did drop some batteries yesterday, but I think that's from, I was quite under-rested from the gym. I think for the most part I'm quite controlled in my movements. So I actually disagree with that. When talking on the phone, do you struggle to know when to speak? No, it's not that I don't struggle to know when to speak. It's more I just didn't really like talking on the phone in general, but it's something I'm getting better at now. I'm just going to flat out disagree with that. Can you tell what someone is thinking by looking at their face? Okay, this is something I just don't think about. I don't think about what someone's thinking when I'm looking at their face. I think you just sort of get a feeling of it. So I guess I do think about it, but it's not like at the forefront. It's like a subconscious thing. I would like to say that, so it feels like something up my nose. I'm just going to use my hoodie. Oh, sorry, I'm actually just going to straight up just pick my nose. Sorry, guys. Can you tell what someone is thinking by looking at their face? I would agree. Do new situations make you feel anxious? 100%. Yes, I strongly agree. Very strongly agree. Because literally, if I've got something new to do and I've agreed to it, I'll literally worry about it for days until it happens. I strongly agree. Is there a schedule? Oh no. Is there a schedule or routine that you feel like you must follow? This is like 100%. Like if I deviate from my schedule, like my routine that I've built for myself, I literally get stressed and angry. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm behind schedule. Like I'm 5 minutes late getting into bed. Or, I literally like this coffee I had on schedule. I have my 2 coffees before 8 a.m. 100%. And this has just become like wildly more compulsive for me in the past sort of half a year. But it's really helped me out. I'm going to strongly agree. That's the most agree of the whole thing. Do people describe your voice as monotone? People haven't told me that, but I've described my own voice as monotone because now I remember this. I remember someone I used to hang out with a lot in school. I feel like I pick up on people's sort of traits and almost like embody them into myself. And I feel like I hung out with this person so much, I became monotone. And it took me a long time for that to dissipate. I mean, I describe it. I don't know how many people have told, like other people have described my voice as monotone, but I have. Sorry, something's been moving here. It freaked me out. Just imagine a rat jumping out at me. As we get the cat down here. I'm just going to say sometimes. Because I'm not sure. Oh, that picture's just making me cringe. Are there certain sounds or visual stimuli that you're sensitive to? Yes. Oh God, this is a good quiz actually. Oh, that picture. I mean, that, for one, like I'm literally getting the hairstand. Why am I covering the laptop? This is a weird one. If a wall's rough, and there are some rough walls around here, this wallpaper's smooth, but over here, if I touch a rough surface, like, it makes my hair stand up on end. If I'm in a low mood, the sound of people eating actually really makes me feel, like this feeling. Yes, if I'm in the office and I can hear a telly or something from the other room, I feel like I need to shut the door so to block that sound as much as possible. Visual stimuli that I'm sensitive to. I was going to say I'm not sure, but this picture's making me want to cover it. So I'm just going to have to strongly agree with that. Do I like fiction and fantasy stories? I mean, hell yeah, I do. I loved Game of Thrones. I loved the shit out of Game of Thrones when that came out. What else did I like? I kind of, I did like the first Witcher series. I loved the Witcher game. Witcher 3 was really cool to play through. I loved Skyrim. recently I loved Baldur's Gate. I've been watching some films. Yeah, I do. And when I was like Lost as well, I remember watching Lost or Prison Break or Heroes. Going back to when I said I get into things, it was like I remember I think it was like 2 weeks. I did nothing except watch Lost. Like I woke up in the morning, or whenever I was waking up then, probably not in the morning. I put Lost on. I was in bed watching Lost, and I was just there until it was like, oh, I need to go to sleep, and I watched Lost. And then I think that took like a week or two for me to do, like just 24/7 watching Lost. I didn't have many commitments. So, I mean, that's sort of the answer to a different question, but I strongly agree. Do I prefer non-fiction? Depends. I mean, if I'm listening to like a podcast or whatever, I mean, I like them to be talking about real things, you know, not make-believe things. But then, I'm not sure. I mean, I do like documentaries, but I'm just going to... It's more like a neutral option. Do I prefer non-fiction? It depends. Like, I can get really into like a World War documentary, like World War One and Two. I love watching a documentary about them because it's fascinating. But I also love films in those settings, and that's fiction, isn't it? They're not the things in that film didn't really take place, but it's in that sort of realistic setting. And I do love learning about like the horrors of it all and the reality of things. There's something about it so captivating, just how sort of terrible it is. But I guess it sort of scares me because it's like, what, you know, imagine being in a war. I think I do prefer learning about that. I'm going to do a somewhat agree because, you know, I still like fiction as well. Is it hard for you to fall asleep? I mean, this is something I've been battling with my whole life. And that is part of the reason why I'm in the routine that I do. And I'm so like set on it because it helps that a lot. I experienced the other night like my old ways where I found it hard to fall asleep. I've had so much troubles with falling asleep that I have to strongly agree. Do you tend to wake up very early in the morning? Well, extremely often, every day. You know, I slept in today and I woke up at 6 a.m. I mean, going back, it would be an almost never. I'd be waking up, you know, midday or onwards, you know. But these days, I mean, for the past sort of year and a half, it's every day. I'm always waking up between 4:30 and 6:30. That's sort of my range. So extremely often. Is it hard for you to understand the point of some jokes? I would say so. I'd say sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's just like I just don't understand it, and I like end up having to ask, and then I feel like a numpty when I finally get it. So yeah, because I get sort of, like I said, stuck on my first impression of what I thought it was, and I can't see past it. So I strongly agree. Is it difficult for you to identify and describe your emotions? No. I can identify, because it's all I fucking think about is how I feel. I'm very stuck on like, if there's something wrong with my body, it's like all I can think about. And I talk about it all the time, so I'm just going to strongly disagree. Okay, do I have symptoms of Asperger syndrome? You have many characteristics of Asperger syndrome. Your answers indicate that you regularly show or notice signs that are common with Asperger syndrome. Please reach out to a specialist for a professional diagnosis. Well, do you know what's funny? Because the past week, I guess that's what made me want to do the quiz, was I decided I actually do want to do that. You know, I want to find out if I genuinely have it. have Asperger's syndrome, because I've been thinking about it a lot ever since it was brought up to me. And where I work in the college, and I work with students who have diagnosis of like varying types of autism, and I see a lot, and I identify a lot with them, and I see a lot of myself in the students. The way they react to things is how I would react to things. Yeah, and like it said, like it is a spectrum, you know, it affects everyone sort of uniquely. But I would like to actually get a proper diagnosis, because not so much it will change anything, but I just want to know really, because it's like it forms the basis of my life in a way, like the way I react to things, the way I process things, and then I don't know, I just want to have a diagnosis. Thanks for watching that, guys. The camera cut out right at the end because it only records for half an hour. Completely was so absorbed in that quiz I lost track of the time. But my plan going forward is I had a recent conversation with my friend Jason, who is someone I went to university with. We lived together. We worked together creating NHS videos. That fell apart. We were part of that together. So we recently had an online discussion just talking about some things, and so for now I'm going to upload like me and Jason talking, whatever we were talking about, and then whatever I make down here, and then it will be another video of me and Jason talking, then yeah, just so and so on for a little bit. I think we recorded about 6 videos from that, so that's the sort of the next sort of week of the channel. And yeah, we'll probably have another conversation going forward, but I think what we're talking about is quite interesting, because it's like Jason touched upon in that video. We have a bit of like this sort of shared sort of trauma of what we went through at the fallout of our video work that we did. And so what's interesting about it is the fact that we were working, creating mental health related films, and now I feel like it's a big part of my life, like talking about that sort of thing. And like I said, working at the college with students who are going, some of them are going through hard times, and that's why I want to learn more about mental health as a whole field, and like how I can better help the students and make myself better, learn about myself more. But particularly like autism is a field I've become much more interested in, not only because of potentially having a form of autism myself, but I work with students who, like I said in the video, who are varying on the spectrum, and I worked on video content about that way before all of this as well. So it's something I'm really interested in, and I want to learn more about it. And yeah, so please press subscribe, and I'll see you next video. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed it, because I did. And yeah, I hope this outro is all right. I can't believe the camera cut out. So thank you. See you next one.